So for this homework assignment, I will continue working on where I left off on my 12 mesh class. If you remember there, what we did was generate a my mesh class that was able to draw stuff on the screen. We made a triangle, a quad, and then from there we generated a cube with basic shapes. That was pretty neat, but it was incomplete. What we need to work on now is complete the other shapes that we're going to be missing. So for that purpose, under my mesh, inside of A02, not 12 mesh, what I have is a signature and some code initializing it. So cube is going to be the same thing that I had over there. Cuboid is a more generalized version that is receiving the actual dimensions and not just one side. But the important ones are going to be my cone, cylinder, tube, sphere, and torus for extra credit. Right now, if I run my program, you should be able to see it like this. With a middle click, I should be able to just see from different angles, and that is if I want to generate the faces. I added this functionality for seeing a wireframe, so it's easier to see from the sides. And what we need to do is complete all these other shapes in order to be able to generate different arguments. If you take a look at what cone contains, it is going to be basically a placeholder for your code. And here's some basic checks saying, is the radius too small? Then make it at least this side. Is it going to be too small for the height? Do it the same way. If I don't have at least 3 subdivisions on a cone, I wouldn't be able to make up the base of it. And larger than 360 doesn't really make sense. It's just wasting memory. If I have already initialized this shape to something, it's going to release it and then initialize it to just keep it ready for whenever we want to do something. Your code in that sense is going to be living within these lines of code. So replace these 3 and just name them whatever or do whatever your code requires this thing to be. You have an example on how to do that in the cube one more time, but the other shapes are basically empty. The only thing that they contain is a basic check to avoid any issues with the outer radius or the inner radius. A complete solution you would be able to find it under the binary folder. In the binary folder, I will have the solution already for you. So if I go to A02S, S standing for solution, and double click on the primitives, this is what my shapes would look like whenever I'm running the program. If I middle click and turn around, then I will be able to see the shape. And if I I will be able to move in my world as any other application. The controllers are there for that. But if you're working with basics, you shouldn't be able to do that. And I'll show you the difference in just 1 minute. If I press F5, I should be able to change the middle shape to a cone. Should be able to turn it around. F6 with a cylinder, and then follow the instructions right here on the side. That's my tube. And that is my sphere. That is my torus, and this one is the basic cube one more time. Pressing F1 is going to give you the projection camera, so it's basically resetting the camera. Then F2 is going to give you an orthographic view from the front. F3 is going to be orthographic view from the top, and then F4 is going to be an orthographic view from the side. But everything that you need should be performed as is. This is just in case you want to see it from a different angle without changing the camera's position. All right. If you're middle click and dragging, be careful to not press the sides of your scroll wheel, because that is also controlling the distance that you can take a look around. So if I start moving this around and then I just do this, it happens that I put my objects in the back and I just lost it. So pressing F1 would return you to the original position. I will show you the differences on the code if I say, let's close all of these guys. If I go to the solution of the project, going to the app class, Under init variables, I will be initializing everything that you need. So there's no need for you to change anything other than this line of code. Please in here include your name and your email so I know whose homework assignment I'm grading. This thing is setting up the camera in this position 0010, looking at 000 and just indicating what the up value is going to be for my camera. And these are initializing my shapes. The controllers are being executed on their app controls, on their process, mouse, keyboard pressed. So actually it released, my bad, but anyway, that is what's happening here. So when I press F5, 6 and 7, I'm just resetting this, the very center one, which is the primitive. Then on their update, I'm not updating anything but the system, and in display I will be displaying the shapes. The reason is the reason that I'm not displaying everything or updating my values inside of update is that I don't want to create member variables for this. These needs to be called within clear the screen and swap the buffers. When we get to render lists, we're going to be setting up a special part of the code that is going to contain everything that is need to send to render, and then on display we're going to be displaying it. But in the meantime, we can just code stuff right in the middle. Once again, if you want to dwell into the depths on how is everything working for you in the background, just go to your mesh class and say that you want to use basics. Basic itself is just going to be able to be debugged line by line. So if I press F11, I'm going to start the application. Then if I say F11 here, it's going to start making the application for me and all the initial values. So I'm going to close this one. Under init, if I press F11, it's going to go onto my init and it's going to do all the other step-by-step things. That is, again, if you want to make sure that everything is, or you want to figure out how everything is working for you. The most important in that would be setting up a breakpoint on their init variables. So on init variables, oh, I went too far. Now let me restart this. On their init variables, you should be able to be creating these guys and just, press F11 and under generate. F11 once again, and then that is going to be giving you step by step what is happening inside of the code, not only on generate queue but all the other ones. If you do use that, if I run my application, I hope I don't have any breakpoints. I do. Well, take this one out. If you run it like that, you shouldn't be able to rotate your camera, and that is because the basics DLL doesn't contain anything other than moving forward, backward, left, right, up and down, but it doesn't let you turn the camera because that is going to be a future homework assignment. So you should be able to middle click and drag and turn the center cube, but as you can see, everything is a cube here on the basic solution. So if I want to be able to have more functionality, I will need to comment out this line under my mesh, and that is going to make sure that everything is running under simplex. So run this. Now if for whatever reason you wanted to have more control over the camera, turn around, either using a joystick or your mouse, you should be able to just turn around your scene and move into the forward vector of that position of the camera. That is basically it. The instructions on how to create these objects are going to be in the Word document, so please take a look at that. The only thing that you need to do is make sure that you finish all the configurations inside of my mesh.cpp. Under generate cube, you have examples, but the ones that we care about are, once again, cone, cylinder, tube, and sphere. Torus is going for extra credit. And once you're done with your homework assignment, what I need you to do is don't submit the whole thing to my courses. First of all, if you don't delete the repository files, then this thing is going to be gigantic. Let's say that this is your application and you're done with the whole solution. Perfect. Close Visual Studio, and on the window that you are working, select the primitives folder where you put the solution and zip everything inside. Either a zip or a 7-zip is fine for me. that is the size of your submission. That has to be 25 kilobytes. That's what you put in My Courses. Now, this is the first homework assignment that I'm actually requiring you to submit this all to your repository as well. So for that purpose, once you go to My Courses and say, let me submit this thing. So I'm going to go to the Dropbox and say, what is my submission for this thing? I haven't created a Dropbox yet for this thing. So imagine that is this is the right folder to put it on. So I'm going to put it here. I will say add the file. What the file is going to be located would be under my upload from, oh, there you go. This PC, the repositories, simplex, those 25. I will upload it. I'll say add. And what is important here is I want you to include the address of your repository. So you're going to be pushing this to your repo. And at the same time, I want you to give me the address of your repository. So let's say github.com. That is the address that I will be using for this. And this is where my repository is. So alongside your submission, you should have in the comment this thing. And then you hit submit. That's how the submission for this homework assignment is going to be. Actually, this is how the submission for every single one of the following homework assignments is going to be. So from now on till the rest of the semester, what I need you to do is just give me the folder and give me the address where I can get the whole thing. The reason is if for whatever circumstance I cannot open or attach this file onto my project, then I will be downloading the whole repository. But I don't want to do that for every single one of you because that's going to take forever to grade. So zip this part up. That's the thing that I'm going to be grading. If I have issues loading these into my solution, then I'm going to go to your repository and get the file from there. All right. So with that, that is it for the instructions in this homework assignment. If you have any questions, please send me an email and I'll talk to you later.